Hey everybody, it's Brad Bordessa from Ukulele.com, and in this lesson it's going to be specifically for low G players. So this is about open triads. This is something you hear not too many places, but I find it super helpful and it sounds really pretty to me. So what you're doing there is you take a normal triad, which is 3 notes, and in this case we're using just major, minor, and a diminished chord to make a G major scale played in triads all the way up. That's what I was just playing. So you take your triad, which is the 1, 3, 5 of the G scale, so you'd end up with G, B, and D. So that's just the bottom 3 strings of your normal G shape. Okay, and when you make a triad open, what you're doing is you're taking the middle note of the triad, how it sits on the string. So you take the middle string in the middle of the triad and you either move it up an octave or down an octave. So in this case, if you're playing this G chord on the bottom, you take the middle note, which is the G note on the 3rd fret of the E string, and move it down an octave, which is your open G. Okay, so this is all set up. I made sure this is all gonna work. So you have your open top string, 2nd fret on the C string, and 2nd fret on the bottom string. So that's another G chord. The open chords kind of have a spread out sound. They're a lot more defined, and like say if you were a guitar player and you were playing with lots of distortion, it would sound a little more clear, whereas this is, all the notes are really close together. But as soon as you change that octave in one spot, you have a lot more of the audio spectrum to work with. So when you're making a scale of chords, if you're doing a major scale, you're going to end up with major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, back to the root. So if we take this concept, we have our G chord, the open G chord that we started with, and then all we're doing is moving that shape, and if we were to move it up 2 frets, we'd get an A chord. But since we're looking for a minor for the next chord, we're going to take the 3rd and flat the 3rd. So the 3rd here, in this case, is on the bottom string, the C sharp, because if you take an A scale, okay, that would give you the 3rd and a major chord, but since minor chords have a flat 3rd, we're taking that C sharp, moving it down to a C. Hopefully I'm not losing anybody here. So G, and then A, but we flat the 3rd, so now we have this minor shape. Okay, so that's 2nd fret on the top string, 4th fret on the C string, and on the bottom string, 3rd fret. And for these you can either kind of pinch piano style, where you're using kind of a claw technique with 2 fingers and your thumb, or if you're good at muting, you can mute the middle string and just strum through it. So that's your minor shape. So far we have major shape, which is 0, 2, 2, and then we have the minor shape, which is 2, 4, 3. Skipping one in between. Okay? So major, minor, we need another minor. So we take this up 2 frets for the B minor. Okay, so this one here would be A minor. G, A minor, B minor, we need another major up to the C. So we take this same shape as the G we started with, up here, so that would be 5, 7, 7. That goes up 2 frets for a D. And then the next one is going to be another minor, which would be E minor. Okay, and that's going to be 9, 11, 10, skipping the E string, just muting. Same minor shape as the A minor, just up on the 9th fret. And then the second to last one, or actually the last one if you don't count the root twice, is going to be diminished. Okay, and it gets kind of confusing here with this diminished chord because it's pretty much a turnaround chord, and this diminished shape is inside of a D7 chord. Okay, so this is an F sharp diminished, which is this, the Hawaiian style D7 that everybody normally plays. So when you're playing this, you're actually playing a diminished chord, an F sharp diminished. But since that's part notes are part of D7, that's why it sounds okay. So up here, you've got an F sharp diminished chord, but it's pretty much a D7. You can kind of think of it in context as a D7 because it sounds like you're going somewhere. Still got to resolve somewhere. So this one is the same as the major shape, except you're squeezing it up so there's no frets in between. So now you have 11, 12, 12. Skipping the E string still. You're always skipping the E string. And then you go up 2 more frets to the last G, which is back to your root, and you add the space back in the middle. So that's 12, 14, 14. Okay? So G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, and back to G. So this concept can be applied anywhere, those open triads, because you've usually got an open triad in some of the chords you play, but if you specifically search out those open triads, you can get some cool sounds. Like that's what's happening in the intro to Cliffs of Dover. Just that kind of thing. It's not exactly what I just showed you, but it's along the same lines with some of the minor open shapes in there. So if you take that, you can take that same concept and apply it to any different key, any scale. So you can kind of learn where the different shapes are. So that's just one set of shapes. And if you start it from a different place or on a different string set, if instead you block out the C string, you'll get different shapes. Like here's a hint, this would be your F open shape, which you probably already know, it's just you're adding a C on top, but in this case you're skipping the open C string. So now instead of missing the E string like we were for the G scale, you're just missing the C string. So this would be 2, 1, 3. So from there, see if you can figure out the F scale. Alright, that's it for that lesson. Mess around with that and hopefully you can add something to your playing. Take care. Peace. Oh yeah, and happy holidays.